What's up, guys? It's Kelly. I'm back, and I am here to talk about what it takes to be a marine mammal trainer. Alright, so again, I have been a marine mammal trainer. I am no longer a marine mammal trainer, but I'm still in the marine mammal workforce, in the field, going strong. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I live for. There's a lot of things going on in the media right now that are severely negatively based around the marine mammal field, and I am just here because I want to get my opinion heard, my facts heard, and the only way to do that is to start off by talking about what it takes to be a marine mammal trainer. So if you want to know what it takes, please keep watching. I talk a little bit about my own experiences as well, so definitely fun stuff. And then please stay tuned for my next part 2 video of this video, and I'm going to be sitting down and talking about why I stand with SeaWorld. Alright, so please stay tuned. Let's dive on in and get started on how you can become a marine mammal trainer. Alrighty, y'all, so let's get right into it. First, I want to say I'm not an expert. I no longer work in the marine mammal training field, but I did for a good part of my adult life. I mean, I'm only 25, and I've been in it for a while. And that being said, I want to be as raw and authentic and just educational as I possibly can. So let's start off by saying this marine mammal training field has changed immensely just since its birth. And it's really only been around since about, let's say, like the 1950s or so. And even then, it wasn't even super heavy or anything like that. It's really been in just our lifetime that this field has really taken off with zoos and aquariums and whatnot. And so what it took to first get into this field whenever it first started is completely different than what it takes now. So I'm going to go over what it takes now in this day and age in 2019 to get into this field. So first and foremost, you don't only need just education or experience, you need both. So now in this day and age, if you want to get into this field, you need a degree of some sort. Whether that is an associate, there is some particular colleges and places around the United States that I know do training associates, but every single person that I know in this field has either a bachelor's or higher. So that bachelor's can vary. It's normally science specific. So I had a bachelor's in biology with an emphasis in marine because I wanted to know the biology aspect of everything. I am in love with the ocean. I want to know on a biological standpoint how things work and what goes on. But most of my old colleagues and most of the people that I still know in this field, they got their degree in psychology. They wanted to know the way that the brain works, the way that they can train, stuff like that. So they all have bachelor plus degrees. A lot of the girls I know have masters, and even some of them have doctorates now. So you definitely need that education as well as the experience. You're not going to graduate from college with a degree in psychology or biology or any other degree that you think will suit this field and immediately get a training position. It just does not happen. You need that experience as well. That is why there are so many unpaid internships all around the world in this marine mammal field, because there's tons of people that want to get into it that don't have the experience, and and these specific facilities need help, and they want to give you that experience, but they don't necessarily have the funds to pay you. So there's a lot of unpaid internships. There's, I think, probably maybe like a handful of paid, and I can only think of one facility off the top of my mind that has a paid internship for someone with 0 experience. It is a very much marriage of education and experience because they really go hand in hand together. Now, after you have said experiences and education married well together, you can do your internships while you're getting your education. That will just put you above everyone. But a lot of it happens after you're done because the internships are very demanding of you. They are normally 40 hours a week for months at a time. And you don't always get the luxury of getting the summer internships in between your semesters. So a lot of girls and boys that I know in this field have done all of their experience after they finished college. Now, upon getting your education and experience, then you start applying to said jobs. Normally, you start off with a husbandry assistant position, which basically means you're the assistant to a trainer, or you're the step below a trainer. They need to make sure that you do have the education and the experience in order to safely interact with these animals, in order to read these animals, know how to interact with animals and train them. So normally a husbandry position, and then you can get to your trainer position, and there's different levels of trainers. But in order to just get that position, you not only need an interview, you have to pass a swim test. If you want to be in the marine mammal training field, you have to pass a swim test. Now, I say that in reiteration because swim tests not only test your physical ability to be in the water with these animals and near these animals, but it tests your mental capacity of being in the water and being near these animals and with these animals. So I have successfully done 2 swim tests for 2 separate facilities and passed both swim tests for these 2 separate facilities. And one facility I had to take it twice because I was there for 2 years. So I'm just going to quickly go over some of the things that we had to do. So for the first swim test I ever had to do in my entire life, it was you were given a 10-minute time limit, and you were given different things you had to accomplish within those 10 minutes. You had to accomplish a 5-minute water tread with your hands above the water. You had to accomplish, I think it was 150 feet freestyle, and then you had to accomplish either diving in or pushing off a breath hold where you swim underwater for 75 feet. I think it might have been a little bit longer. I'm not too sure. And then I think that was it. No, and then you had to dive down 12 feet, receive 2 6-pound weights, and then come up with them in your hands to where the weights broke the surface of the water before you did. And then that is all. So you had to complete all of those elements within a 10-minute time period. The second one that I did, and the reason why I'm going off memory with that is because I don't necessarily remember, but the second one that I did, I have it written down in front of me from whenever I got the call that I got the swim test. So this particular swim test was graded and had pass or fail elements to it. It's a little bit harder. Also was in a lot colder water. So in order to pass this swim test, you had to make a 90 or above with graded and pass fail elements. So the first element that you do was a 240-foot freestyle in 80 seconds or less. So, and it was intense. Like, they lined you up, and whenever it was your turn to go, they were like, all right, go. Like, you don't have time to think about it. You just have to do it. The next element was, again, you could push or you could dive in 80-foot underwater breath hold. The next element was you had to dive, so surface dive, you're in the water, dive 26 feet to receive a 5-pound weight, again, come up with it. And then there was a haul out. So basically there's about like a 2 to 3 foot ledge right in front of you while you're in the water. You have to haul yourself out, and then you want to just walk away from the pool. Again, this part was graded. So if you walked away from the pool, if you hauled out to your foot, you got full points. If you went to your knee, you were subtracted some points. If you went to your hip, subtract. If you rolled out, again, subtract. And then the last final element was they gave you a script, and you had to say the script over a microphone. And in both cases, you had to pass both swim tests in order to land an interview. So that's even before you talk to anyone about how amazing you are. You have to show that you have the skills to be able to be in the water. So those are the main elements in order to get to be a marine mammal trainer. If this is your dream, if you want to do this for a living, that's what you need. You need education, experience, you need to be comfortable in the water, and you need to be psychologically tough enough to allow your body to do the things that it needs to do in the water, if that makes sense. Your body is an amazing, amazing vessel, and you can push it a lot further than you really think, and that's holding your breath and swimming fast and such. Now to go into the actual training aspect of it. So to train something, you can train anything in the world, absolutely anything. You can train animals, you can train other human beings, you can train anything you want to train. You can't train a rock, obviously, I mean, duh, but if it has the ability to be trained, it can be trained. So basically, in a nutshell, training is just teaching something to do something when you want it to. I'm so sorry if my colleagues just cringed in their seat after I just said that, but it's basically the truth. And that's just to dumb it down. And there's 2 ways that you can train. You can train using reinforcement or punishment. And those are the 2 largest, the 2 ways to train. Now, within those training elements, the reinforcement or the punishment, there's 2 ways to do that as well. So there's positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and positive punishment and negative punishment. So to put it in perspective for you guys, we've all been punished, right? So punishment is in order to lessen behaviors. So if you see something and you don't want to see that particular behavior anymore, you punish it in order to not see it. Does that make sense? So it's to decrease the amount of times this behavior is being displayed. So in order to negatively punish something, that means, so if you are using negative reinforcement or negative punishment, that means you are subtracting something from the environment. So think like math terms. So positive, you are adding something to the environment. Negative is you are taking away or subtracting something to the environment in order to reach your goals. So if you are using negative reinforcement, that means you're taking something out of the environment in order to lessen a behavior. So if you are arguing with your brother, like I used to do all the time growing up, and then my parents would take away my phone, take away my TV privileges, take away something that I enjoyed doing in order to see arguments between my brother and I less, that is exactly what negative punishment is. You are taking something away from the environment in order to not see that behavior. So Same thing applies to positive punishment. Positive, you are adding something into the environment in order not to see that behavior. So if I am yelling profanity out loud in public and my parents decide to spank me, they are adding that spank, they are adding that punishment to the environment in order for me not to yell profanity anymore. That is what punishment is. So that is positive punishment, and then you know negative punishment now. So in like terms with reinforcement. So reinforcement is used whenever you want to see a behavior more frequently. If you want to increase the amount of times that this behavior happens, you use reinforcement. So negative reinforcement, again, negative is whenever you take something out of the environment in order for that behavior to occur a lot. Now, this is probably the hardest one to give an example of, but I'm going to give an example because it's truly the only one that I know how to describe that we all understand it. So a great example is whenever we get into our vehicles, if you are ever sitting in the driver's seat or the passenger seat and you don't buckle your seatbelt right away, what do you hear? You hear that ding, 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 bell, bell, bell until you buckle that seatbelt again, right? So there has been a ding, there has been a bell added to your environment in order for you to put your seatbelt on. Therefore, every time you get in the vehicle, you put that seatbelt on because you don't want to hear that bell. So that is negative reinforcement. You are taking that bell away in order to increase how many times you put your seatbelt on right away. So I'm done with that. That is the hardest thing to describe. Now on to positive reinforcement. So positive reinforcement is whenever you're adding something to your environment in order to see a behavior more frequently. So if we want to talk about something we all understand, if you are training your dog to sit, whenever you see the dog sit, you hand them a treat, you hand them their favorite toy, you give them a belly rub. That is reinforcement. That is positive reinforcement. You are adding something to their environment in order to see that behavior more often. So, and that's, you're adding something to their environment that they enjoy, that they like. That is positive reinforcement. And let me tell you, people, that is the only way marine mammal trainers train the marine mammals. Positive reinforcement. Let me reiterate that. That is the only way people that are marine mammals or any trainers in zoos and aquariums train their animals is by positive reinforcement, adding something to their environment that those animals enjoy to increase a particular behavior. So, yeah, that is marine mammal training in a nutshell. That is probably the most information you'll ever receive in the shortest amount of time. Now, to talk about my experiences. Now, I was getting my degree in South Texas in biology with a marine emphasis, so marine biology. And I was lucky enough to be presented an opportunity while I was going to school for a study abroad trip to Mexico. Now, I was in the Riviera Maya, and I was there for 3 months, and I got to study and work at a marine mammal facility. So I was at a particular interaction facility. Interactions are basically whenever guests get into the water with said marine mammals and interact, are able to get physical touches, able to see the animal up close, be in the water with it, everything like that. Now, I was able to, by the end of that summer, with the help of the trainers that were there, start to run programs by ourselves. We spent half the day in the classroom, half the day hands-on, running around, learning a whole heck of a lot. It was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Now, after that, I moved back home. I still had a year left of school, still didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do, so I started applying to different internships. I applied to a specific internship, didn't get the internship, but a week later I got a call asking if I wanted an actual paid position because I had so much experience at this study abroad practicum that I did with marine mammals. So then I became a husbandry assistant, later turned dolphin trainer. Still have my whistle. We'll always cherish this whistle, where we did predominantly shows. So I was at a show facility for 2 years, and then I left said facility and I went to another interaction facility in South Florida, and where I did predominantly, I focused on research. I was actually a research intern. So I went from a dolphin trainer to a research intern, and I also got to help them run their daily activities, and they did guest interactions as well as research projects and such like that. One of the best facilities I've ever been to in my entire life. And I grew up going to different zoos and aquariums my whole life. So I have had the educational experience, the experience, and also the pleasure experience of going to several different facilities and working and being a part of several different facilities just in the past 5 years or so. So again, I'm not an expert. I do have great experience. I've dedicated my whole adult life to marine mammals and their welfare. So I do have very strong passions and opinions on the topic of blackfish and whistleblowers. So I definitely want to get into that, but just not this video. So please stay tuned for the next video and you will hear everything I have to say. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned and please subscribe because there are going to be a lot more videos about this. This just really brings light that the public needs more education on marine mammals and what is going on in this world. So see you later.